Talking Points with Keith Vaz, celebrating diversity. Lyca, London.
My next guest on the programme is someone who is described as one of the most influential and long-serving journalists in the west of India. Sunjay Gupta has been a journalist since 1990. That's 36 years, working for all the major publications in India. He was the Times of India's editor in Calcutta and also the deputy editor. He then went on to edit the Asian Age in Mumbai with the legendary MJ Akbar. He was with NDTV in Mumbai, looking after Bombay and Maharashtra, and with the Statesman newspaper in Kashmir. Sunjay worked with the Telegraph in UP until he moved to Goa in 2004. He's edited Goa's largest paper called O Heraldo for over 15 years in different phases. And he's now launched his own independent media network called Ink Media, and the channel that it serves is called Ink Goa. It's like no other current broadcasting network. It's breaking news, in-depth investigations, and of course, anything that's considered newsworthy. Good morning, Sunjay Gupta.
Good morning, Keith.
Now, we're having Goan-type weather here in England. Tell me what you're doing in the UK. Why are you not in the middle of Panjim?
Well, the weather is balmy, but the spirit is great to be here this time. I'm actually here to meet members of the Goan diaspora in the UK, because I realize that while mine is a deep dive into various issues of Goa, I do investigations, I do ground reports, I try and bring clarity from the clutter, which is there in the news. But one of my main tagline of my channel is Goa's voice, Goan's conscience. And that doesn't limit myself to the boundaries of Goa. And as I've traveled to many countries where I've met Goans, and I've realized that they need to be part of the conversation of Goa. The color of their passports don't determine their love for Goa and their commitment to Goa. They're all stakeholders.
Now, you've got a huge CV in terms of the work you've done with so many newspapers in Mumbai and Goa and other parts of the country, Kashmir included. Newspapers, journalism has changed enormously. Does anyone read the print media anymore, or is it now all social media?
Well, the interesting part is people are still consuming what print journalists are producing. Just that they are consuming it through different means, through different devices. I'd just like to take you to what traditional newspapers like the Hindu and the Indian Express are doing. See, the Hindu, which is a very, very traditional newspaper, has one of the strongest online editions that anybody would have. And the Hindu online is read everywhere, even by people who are traditional consumers of print. And often what happens is that with the digital medium, they're able to write more, explain more, write more often. And that enables traditional newspapers to break the 24-hour news circle to crunch it down into 1 hour news circles. So I think what's happening, it's not a rivalry between print and social media. I think the print journalists and the print medium has understood the value of the digital medium and has really reinvented themselves in a wonderful way. So people who still would like to kind of have the paper at home and read it will do it. Undoubtedly, the numbers are shrinking, but it's still there. But those very people are also kind of reading exactly what the print is producing, the digital format. And the digital format also allows you to do long-form journalism much more than the traditional print does.
I remember when I was last in Goa, you showed me around the printing press.
Yes.
And it's really old-fashioned and very traditional compared to what we see on our phones. What you're saying is you keep the traditional, but also you modernize. How do you, as a journalist who's seen massive changes in the last 40 years, keep one step ahead of the curve?
Well, to keep one step ahead of the curve, you need to do exactly this, in the sense that you need to understand what's going on in the world, be active, be attentive, know what technology can do, and make sure that technology is always your tool and not your master. Because there is so much that technology can do, even with the advent of AI. And I think AI, if it's used as a tool rather than used as your master, it works very well because it cuts down on the clerical stuff. It helps you with the research. But you still need to do the interviews. You need to do the groundwork. You need to understand what people are saying. You still need to go out and do the traditional getting your boots dirty kind of journalism.
Now, you mentioned AI, and this is our final question in this part. We'll come back to Goa in part 2. Can we actually have a newspaper written entirely by AI? Why should humans be involved if you could just say, Why don't you write me a story about the current situation in India?
That's because journalism is a profession where two people or more need to talk and understand each other. You need to kind of extract empathy. You need to extract information. And that kind of understanding comes not through just only research, but meeting people face to face. I would perhaps wouldn't have known as much about Keith Vaz if I had not known you otherwise. If I had not really met you and had conversations. Because whether you're covering sport or you're covering politics, you need to understand people. And I feel even in the older days when I grew up, political journalists used to ultimately do much better reports, much better ground reports. They used to cover politics much better because they used to have conversations. They used to go in and speak. You cannot report about hunger by just looking at data. You need to go into areas where there's poverty and there's hunger.
Yes.
If you're doing it to stand and feel it. So AI might be able to quickly turn around a copy or turn around your thoughts, but it'll never be able to get you the information the way you would if you didn't go.
This is Keith Vaz on Talking Points on Lyca Radio. I'm talking to Sunjay Gupta, one of India's most distinguished journalists who's left the print media to start up his own enterprise. In part 2, we're going to be talking about Goa, of course. That's what he's primarily concerned with, but also what's next as far as the medium of radio and television and journalism is concerned. Join us after the break.
Keith Vaz on Talking Points, Lyca.
Welcome back. This is Keith Vaz on Talking Points on Lyca Radio. I'm talking to Sunjay Gupta, one of India's most distinguished journalists, former editor of the Asian Age, now with his own company called Ink Goa. Ink Goa covers, of course, because of its name, what's happening in Goa. And in particular, you've decided to concentrate on the diaspora. Why?
Well, the diaspora is one area which other media and mediums in Goa are not doing. So in Goa, it does not only do diaspora, but it aims to involve a lot of the diaspora in conversations. And I think while people know that there are so many people from Goa who've gone to England and to other places, very little has known about the success stories of Goans abroad. And they not just contribute to the economy, they don't just send wire transfers back home. They have really established their businesses. They are doing great work in their communities. They're doing wonderfully well in politics as well. And they are also ensuring that people here in the countries they've adopted also get jobs. They're also very good employers. And I think this needs to be told because this needs to be celebrated. And on one hand, that is one reason why their involvement is very important. Secondly, in Goa also feels that Goans the world over, irrespective of the color of their passports, are very important stakeholders. And their words and their contributions and their inputs to a better Goa should be embraced, encouraged.
Now, one question about the politics of Goa. People are very concerned sometimes when people get elected for one particular party and then decide to go and sit with another party. It seems to frustrate Goans because they tend to try to elect somebody for a particular set of values, then they change. Is it something peculiar to Goa or is it happening all over India?
I wouldn't say it's peculiar to Goa, but Goa has seen so much of it that it almost seemed like a local produce, and it seems that defection is something that's farmed in Goa and exported to the rest of the country. But I have a point to make about Goans getting frustrated. Yes, Goans are getting frustrated for sure, but that frustration doesn't seem to transform into their voting decisions. Because if that was the case, why would the party that's the recipient of defections continue to win elections, while the party which is the victim of defections continues to lose? And that's something which I've not been able to get my arm around or my mind around. Because defections is bad, we all know it. And I think the only way to stop defections is to make a rule that the moment you defect from a party and leave the party, you lose your elected seat, come what may. This 2/3 majority and so on and so forth has actually become a way of bypassing the system and encouraging defects.
Yes.
So I think this is common to many parts of the country, but I think in Goa, because it's small and because small numbers make big impacts, it's being felt in Goa.
Ink Goa, this is your invention. Where were you when you first thought of this idea? Were you in your bath? Were you having a shower? Were you walking down in the middle of Pancham? What made you create this?
This was buzzing all over. In each of the places that you've just mentioned, I'm sure all that has happened. It was not one eureka moment where I jumped out of the bathtub and got this idea. Ink Goa is a child of hope and also a child of frustration. It's a child of frustration because the traditional media in Goa as well in rest of the country doesn't give you the freedom to avoid compromise. And I think very often people who run newspapers are forced to compromise for various reasons, which I'll prefer not to go into. But to do what you're doing and to look at yourself in the mirror and feel that, look, you've not let yourself down, and your journalism down. You need to do things on your own, and it's not easy because all of this costs money. You need to invest. You need to dip into your savings. You need to do all of that, especially because Goa has taken one pledge that we will not take any money from any political party in the form of advertising. We will not take any money from the government in the form of advertising as well. Any government, irrespective of which government is in power. And we will depend completely on contributions from people. And I think that's important.
So, great design. The canvas is blank. You've arrived in London. Where's your next trip? Where are you most interested in after the UK?
Well, Goa will continue to be my place of work, and that's where I am. And reporting Goa is going to be very important. But as far as the diaspora is concerned, yes, I'd like to kind of keep coming back and spend some time in the UK because the diaspora is so large. Australia is another country which I personally love, met a lot of people there. There's a very strong community there. And there is a Konkani radio channel run by my very dear friend, Frankie Fernandez.
Oh, yes.
And I'm sure at some point of time, he and I will try and collaborate to do something there. Of course, you cannot ignore the Gulf because that's another big area.
Well, basically, they're everywhere.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You find a Goan everywhere.
In Canada.
Like you'll find an Indian everywhere. Sunjay Gupta, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Congratulations on your initiative. We wish you at Lyca Radio well in your endeavors. We always ask our special guests to choose a song that means something special to them and to dedicate it to someone special. Which song would you like to choose and to whom would you like to dedicate it to?
Well, there's a lovely song by Alfred Rose, and though my wife thinks I know nothing of Konkani and this is me, but I'd like to dedicate this song to my wife, Carmen. And Tu Mujhe Sukh by Alfred Rose is a song that I'd like to dedicate.
Well, let us hear this song in a second, but thank you again. You brought the Goan weather with you. Please don't take it with you when you go back to Goa. Have a wonderful trip.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. And I'd like to offer my best wishes all the way from Goa to all the listeners of Lyca Radio. Wish you all the best and congratulations for whatever you're doing. Thank you so much for having me.
Let's hear the song chosen by the new founder and chief editor of Ink Goa on his first visit to the UK. Enjoy.
तू मोजे सुख देऊ ना काय दुःख तू मोजो रूख लागो ना भूक तुझे विणे संसार सगळोच दिसता काळू तू मोजे फूल तू एक बुलबुल तुझ्या मोगान हांव जाला गुल तुझे मुखार माणका मोज्या हांव जमनीची धूल
Kung distay jiwo san
तू किल्लाय ना कायदांत कुडीक सुटलो आकांत
Mor mogaच्या sondiran
मोड जाला तर म्हाका गोड्डोर जियोंची सुकांत
Tu moje suk diu na kai duk Tu mozo ruk lago na buk Tuje vine sonsar saglot dista kalu Tu moje ful tu yak bulbul Tuja mogan hamzalyangur Tuje mukhar manka moja auzomnichi dul
इल्लाय ना कायदांत उडीक सुटलो आकांत
मोड मोगाच्या सोंदिरान
मोड जाला तोर माखा गोड्डोर जियोची सुकां